Okay, this is my write-up for um, the week three doors case study. Basically, what happened? Basically, it's the discussion of like points of failure and what happens if those points of failure breaks down. Like example, for, in terms of the doors situation, what if the door gets stuck and basically causes a crash or the um yeah, get locked in the toilet. Probably gets locked in the toilet and have to use that axe to crack it out. Basically, what is the issues with it? Basically, you're asking like, was our recommendations to this issue? Mine is quite simple. What if someone takes? Let's go with the assumption that we're the Airbus and let's say terrorist takes over the issue and they have already overridden the traffic control. How do you ensure ensure that the system will continue operating? My first solution is quite simple and dumb. Basically, if you think something is an issue, like if something's going wrong and you don't realize what's going on, like for example, there's a bug inside for some reason you're like lower than it says here, or like the redundancy, like the air redundancy, or like I don't know, you feel unsafe in that you know that you won't be controlling the plane for very much longer. You can automatically kick it into autopilot, like but no, like an advanced AI autopilot, which will actually fly the plane to the closest airport, does the handshake and everything, just to ensure that, or even land the plane at the nearest convenience and locks it down, just to ensure to stop that, to ensure the safety of the passengers and that stuff, and that it can't be overridden until it's shut down and uses a special until it's shut down, landed, and turned off, basically. And you will need like a special encryption key that is never does never enter the plane unless this circumstances happen, and unless an issue has arisen. Um, this way locks out the terrorists, and they have no control of the plane. It's basically on a, and if they can override that, then basically in relative to what it is in today's standard, they can just override the plane. But it's a lot harder to override software compared to overriding hardware, like um, people, because basically to you can threaten like every person can be like any person can actually like threaten and intimidate a human being. While with a computer, you literally need to be able to hack the program. And if you do like safety procedures like hide the control block so it's physically unaccessible for it during flight, like keep it in the nose or something like that. Um, you that's it. Like you have to be able to get around that, and that's a lot harder to do. Like for one, the AI can never, um, the AI can is never connected to a network or internet. It can take information from external things like GPS and what have you, but it's never connected to a network, particularly the AI, and it can only be updated by hand, but by an encryption authenticated protocol thing, um, which let's say it's um, yeah, encryption authentic protocol key with a massive encryption key. Was it, yeah, a massive encryption thing with a hash, which is signed and hashed and all sorts of magic. Like yeah, the actual program itself has been hashed and authenticated. So on startup, it checks if the program's been modified at any on the hardware level, not software, hardware. That's a good way of getting around it. And that's how Modern. That's actually how modern operating systems. That's what secure boot is, which is nice. My second one is a little less foolproof, but um, fun though. Have democracy control the plane. Let's say we can like do an extension. Let's say terrorists has taken over the plane and um, or the pilot is going crazy or something like that. You can have like a voting system that comes up on the plane, which will override the current pilot's control. And in my sense, I would like it will allow the AI to take over in that retrospect. So it takes the majority of people because it's harder to influence a lot of people than it is to influence one person, which is the issue right now. Because if you influence the pilots, that's it. If you can influence every single person on that flight, basically you're more danger. They're probably having a like bomb threat level. You're most likely already dead at that point. Or at that point, just give them the plane. Like, if they manage to like control, let's say 120 people, you have a your best bet is you're lost. You're not gonna have a good time. So basically, a democracy to override the pilot to go into autopilot, and we'll say it'll be it's 50% of the people who have boarded the plane. And I like it. I like the idea of switching to autopilot rather than like removing control and introducing another one because then they have to take out two factors. They have to change the programming, and corrupt the pilot, which is very unlikely. Thank you for listening.